And it is going to be LYNX TH on the defense, going to put Bello back onto the Doomfist with the sort of Summer onto the Sombra. So it's going to be basically a Sombra Doomfist kind of defense going on for We're Eternal Gaming, going to keep playing the 3-3 goats.
This has worked well for LYNX TH to some extent in the past. You can see it, they kind of split up We're Eternal, half of them made it through. Actually, I think they all have made it through on the rotation now, but it was a little dicey. A
huge punch coming out from Bello, so you see that 26% already charged up for his ultimate. We're Eternal now. Keep rotating through. Bello's at his next hiding spot here. Gonna look for some more ult charge, maybe a pick.
Nice. Finding Grace as he drops down and weaves back around, finds Ambio. Third one in a row on Junwoo. He won't get any more beyond that. The rest will be attributed to his teammates, but you gotta let him have it sometimes. That's a pretty nice defense from LYNX, and it took a lot of time for We're Eternal.
Yeah, and Bello heard the analysis there. He wasn't happy with how the Doomfist has been so far. Quite frankly, no one has been. Now going into this defense, it's been pretty stellar. You gotta say nearly onto that meteor strike, and if it's Nutsu Summer, halfway to the EMP as well. We're Eternal Gaming in response is gonna put Junwoo on the Moira instead, to give a little bit more survivability against the Doomfist.
This time they pop up Ambio, isolate him, and are able to close out on him. Then they just kind of dive onto the rest. Bello does have to pay respect to the damage coming out, but a meteor strike will get him right onto Jasmine, keeping him separated from the team. Maybe that's enough time to close out something else. Having a bit of a hard time in this one. Finally, they're able to drop Ice, and they did lose a member in the middle of that. Panties probably needs to pop a Transcendence here if they want to be
EMP ready?
But he's really taking his time with it. They want to lean on the EMP instead. There it goes out now. Jasmine does still have a lot of charge, so LYNX do need to pay respect to that, but starting to go increasingly well for LYNX. Still no Transcendence though. Nutsu-Sama dies.
There it is.
Is low. Finally it comes out from Panties as Carter gets back in the mech. And the honest truth is We're Eternal are actually still very much
Oh, nice sound barrier.
Boomba Rapper got lost in the midst of that as well through an environmental kill. And unfortunately for LYNX, despite being off to such a good start, We're Eternal are turning this around.
And this looks like now a completed camp for We're Eternal coming in very shortly. There may be some turnaround here. Maybe they can get some ultimates out of We're Eternal, but that would be all they get.
Yeah, the punch down on Ice in there, not enough. It actually just leaves Bello on his back, and he is far more vulnerable, far more squishy when he's not able to move. And I feel like if LYNX had pulled the trigger on some of those tools earlier, they wouldn't be in this spot.
And you have to look at Junwoo as well. The swap onto Moira actually pays off here because he stays alive and makes sure he doesn't get himself EMP'd. That means he gets to keep using the Coalescence, so despite EMP coming down, there's so much extra healing. LYNX CH don't pick up anyone during the EMP, and then suddenly We're Eternal Gaming win. Now they get to use ults.
Yeah, nice quick connect out of Bombarata, just trying to unleash Bello. He finds one, lines it up, pops Ambio now, maybe wanting to re-enter, but honestly, We're Eternal have been smart enough to back off from this. Bello might go down here. They're
going to go back in.
Re-entry.
They don't want to back out too soon because they have so many ults here. They don't want to give opportunity for LYNX TH. Nutsu-Sama is now soon to be in EMP zone. Once the EMP is available, We're Eternal Gaming, once again, just have to watch out. This is where they can very seriously lose. This team composition is still very weak to EMP.
And there it is, right as they walk over.
Got everybody.
Catwalk, immediately separates the team as half back up, half stay in. And even with Icing getting that one kill back on Nutsu-Sama, the rest is an absolute wash in favor of LYNX.
And this is now a big issue for We're Eternal because they still have ultimates, but they've also given away a fight win for LYNX now, given LYNX the opportunity to set up for the next defense. And most importantly, they've had to fully reset here, so all snowball momentum for We're Eternal has now been lost. Now they can still win this fight, but LYNX TH, they get the setup here. They have a Transcendence now, they have abilities that can still counter We're Eternal.
We're Eternal do have a lot of things that need to be countered though. That's one thing you got to consider. They get low. Earth Shatter coming out of Ison is good.
Bello lives.
One way, but Grace dies. Despite the Coalescence as Bello scoops up two with the Meteor Strike. That's how you crash down to earth in style. And now it's just cleanup. Once again, Ambio will not walk out of here alive. And this time around, We're Eternal have far less tools to go on for the next fight.
And that's the issue because you need Bello down. He was flat on his back. The Earth Shadow landed on him, but they couldn't secure the kill. We're Eternal now going to make some changes. Ison going to be going onto the Winston for this next push. As soon as Bello gets back up onto his feet, the Meteor Strike cleans up 2 kills. LYNX CH forced to reset again. That was like 4 ultimates expended by We're Eternal as well. They've lost that advantage. They've lost snowball momentum. They'll reset harder, and now they've lost too much time.
LYNX are looking to be in a pretty comfy spot. They can just start rotating between these ultimates. Next will be EMP as soon as they've got it. That's a bit of a rocky start, actually taking the hurt off.
Wait up the nano.
Yeah, that's the thing. Not getting much out of that ultimate does hurt LYNX here a bit, but they got the EMP soon.
And that's the thing that Nutsu-Sama has to be careful here, has to stay alive. Just have to wait out the EMP, that's so important.
That's all they're really relying on. As the Finder comes up available. We're Eternal are a bit scattered. It's hard to get a good EMP angle here, so Bello decides he'll just take advantage of these split up members, keep them that way.
Should use it now.
Coalescence gets committed out. Here's going to be the Meteor Strike burst. Transcendence out of panties as well. Nice stun on Bello. He drops down.
He's got to use it.
The EMP going to come. Now he's finally going for it. Onto the back line. No, still hasn't used it. Finally commits it. Only 25 health left. And Bello is dead, which just means no one could follow up on it. And the sound barrier there from Grace to keep them safe. Suddenly we are Eternal very much on the front foot in this fight as Lynx find themselves low on resources.
Double.
And 2 dead.
Triple.
Plus the mech from Kana's self-destruct. Suddenly Lynx deeply on the back foot in spite of the nano boost on Rod Tongue. It's really got to rescue this one. Bombarapa will not get back in the mech. Dive onto the back line out of Kana, trying to pop Zobi. Will be able to find him thanks to the help of Ambio. Now they come back in.
Bello do it.
Rod Tongue, drop Bello. It's not going to be done by anyone here for Lynx. And we are Eternal. They're going to punch themselves a window wide open and stroll on through.
And they should be, because no one else can come through here. It should be the full 100%. Bello's alive, but it's not going to be enough. And not Sarasama. What happened there? He had the opportunity. I saw it straight away. The Coalescence coming out from Jungwoo. This is the perfect EMP. You're going to shut down the Coalescence if you land it onto him and everybody else. You don't need the perfect 6 here. You only need a few people. If you land it on the correct people, that's going to be the fight win. Even if it's only half the members, you take down the sound barrier, you rather eliminate I believe it was, I'm trying to remember, a Grace from being able to use it. You stop the Coalescence from channeling. You allow Bello to get in there without fear from getting, you know, stunned out, shield bashed, whatever. And then suddenly that's how you win. But just never pulled the trigger until it was too late. Bello already died. Yeah. And then he went in, still hesitated, still didn't use it, has to then get out on 25 HP. That's both your DPSs that are not impacting that EMP. You got 4 members that are trying to do something. Not enough, you lose that fight.
And those 4 were way back elsewhere on the point as well. It's so unfortunate, because here's the reality. Even if they wanted to not use the EMP, there were other ways they could approach the fight. They were riskier, but even then, there were still mis-executions. The placement of Bello's Meteor Strike, the lack of reaction to a lot of ultimates. We've seen Pannies very late to pull the trigger on a lot of Transcendences. That was more so in the first fight as well. But that's the thing, Lynx, they're just not executing properly on the use of the tools they have at their disposal. They need to turn that around now on the offense.
And they were playing the disruption composition as well. Look at Doomfist, look at Sombra. They're there to disrupt, and for We Are Eternal, you cannot allow them to make their game plan happen, and that game plan right now is looking like the Rhine goats for both sides.
And this is something that maybe Lynx can just lean into. It did work for them on the Jung Tower. Maybe this is a way they can just kind of outmuscle We Are Eternal.
And I got to look at these opening skirmishes again. The team that gets the better skirmish here, that gets better ult charge, is going to snowball very effectively. So, LYNX, can they sort of turn that around like they did on Lee Jung Tower?
A little bit slow on the rotation here, though, is LYNX. They're leaving themselves vulnerable for a very long time, but Ison ends up getting dropped as LYNX just kind of fake that one out, then charge forward. They do trade one Reinhardt in response. But We Are Eternal, the ones sorely on the back foot here as they lose Jasmine and Kana's mech. Now lacking in tanks, it's really just these 2 healers. Jungwoo gets dropped, Kana goes down, and I believe Grace has turned tail and run. No, he's actually stalled out the point for a little bit longer, but at any rate, LYNX have capped and in pretty good time.
And a very good cleanup as well. They got a large number of kills. If you saw Nitsudasama's POV, 100 energy as well. Just had so much damage out, but Jasmine goes down. Nothing to be seen from there. Both Zaryas actually have very commendable ult charge on top of the grab, but it's LYNX TH that have everything else in every other department. Grace's going to go onto the Ana here, and this is actually quite smart because if you land a great Bionade, you can turn things around very quickly. Don't want to play the mirror when you're actually behind an ult charge.
It's the difference in the tech here, the Discord Orb versus the Bio Grenade.
They've got a Discord Orb as well.
They do actually, so it's not even one versus the other. I really do like this from We Are Eternal. They don't need the mobility here, as they just both engage on the point. There's going to be that Bionade out. Only really got Bello. Rod Tongue a little low, so Panties pops a Transcendence. They go aggressive on that.
Grab.
Jungwoo responds on that. Earth Shatter to come out. Only getting Zobi charged back in though. And now Ambio is finding the first casualty of the fight as all Bear, despite this one last grab coming out. Ooh, can they turn the shield around? No, they can't. Panties goes down and Rod Tongue got dropped in that. Bombarapa will not get anything out of that self-destruct. Just a bit of fall-off damage on Jasmine. And despite a good start getting those kills in, LYNX not able to scoop up the rest in enough time. They've only fighting close down on Kana now, but We Are Eternal respawn.
LYNX are really trying to get in here right now. They're waiting for their own respawners. Sound barrier was used. Rod Tongue are back on the wrecking ball as well.
Bellows in trouble here. Nice barrier at the last minute to save him, but the Earth Shatter is enough to finish him off. Charge back doesn't actually find Natsuru-sama, but he's low and surrounded anyway, so he will finally now go down. LYNX actually choosing to stay in that fight for the extra extension. This maybe cost them here because that's a decent amount of time off the clock, and We're Eternal now have an ultimate advantage.
And they were actually so close to getting that first tick. Now, if they got that 33%, this would all have been worth it, but unfortunately, because they do stay in for a little bit extra, they're giving a lot of ults back onto We're Eternal. Rodtongue actually has to change back on the Ryan anyway. He was just going onto the hammer to try and get back to the point quicker. LYNX, they put a lot on that offense. Despite being on the back foot, they started losing. They still wanted to keep on point pressing in. Now the time is still 5 minutes, which is very, pretty still generous, but it's definitely not as good as it was before.
Jasmine's just going to grab into the wall here, able to catch these members. Not able to get the kills, but look at how low they are. It's only a matter of time. Earth Shatter again out of ice and so quick onto all these condensed members. This is an absolute rout now. The question is how many more will LYNX lose before they're able to get back safely?
And this is just going to be a very, very long stagger out. And there's a baby Divas. Oh, not anymore. Ison's going to end the life of Bumburapa.
Let's throw the baby out with the bathwater.
It certainly is. You've got now 3 ultimates on the We're Eternal side. Natsuru-sama does have a Graviton Surge, but the counters are available. And what we are also seeing is, with Grace's Nano Boost on what I believe should be Ison here on the next fight, he's going to get a very good, very quick Earth Shatter. Don't forget, I mean, he's on 31%, but as soon as the Nano Boost gets in there, if he's brawling, it's going to go up to 100 very quickly.
So that's the thing, LYNX, look, they do have some tools that could do it for them here, but...
Oh, look at this engage angle.
Nicely done, good angle. This forces We're Eternal to come down to meet LYNX, but they're more than happy to do that. Actually, LYNX are a little bit separated. Grab out into the middle, self-destruct left. There's going to be the trap.
Oh, wow.
Up finds 2. Junwoo not able to save that one. Self-destruct out in response from Kana to not get any mileage. Now Amgo down, and We're Eternal stacking out 3 members. Kana about to lose the mech here. Oh, just barely finally loses it now. And that's actually bought some time for these tanks to respawn, but late death on...
Oh, Shatter.
Excellent Shatter onto Ison, and We're Eternal. They've only had 3 members up at a time for the course of this fight thus far. Now getting into an even worse position. Only Junwoo here on the point, not even that. And the cap is looking like it'll come out from LYNX in just a few seconds here, with a better time yet than what We're Eternal were able to do.
And this is coming off the back of the fact that LYNX had such a great offense onto A and going into B as well. Note that for We're Eternal Gaming, they had way longer stop-ups despite eventually getting it, possibly off the back. In fact, I definitely want to say off the back of some misplaced usages of ultimates, especially the EMP for Natsuru-sama on the defense there from LYNX. On LYNX's own offense, they lost 1 fight on that B push. It was a very long fight, we'll say that. Was probably a little bit hurtful, but coming back in, their ability to just execute on We're Eternal Gaming, you have to look at the tanks here. Both Jasmine and Ison, who, by the way, Ison received the Nano Boost, went from 30% to about 70%, overtook Rodtongue very quickly, but then instantly died. Jasmine as well, instantly died right after that. He had the Graviton Surge available, but never got a chance to put it out there.
Yeah, and you see it here. The self-destruct just so disgustingly placed on
with the stun, by the way,
of Ison, exactly, such that once the stun came out, there wasn't even a body blocking fact. Like, it was just nothing. There was nothing to go off. Those members were completely exposed.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is, look, I did say LYNX had some issues with execution on their defense. They did still have some on their offense. It was a lot better. This time difference is actually due to the extra hold they had on the A defense.
And I'll remind everyone as well, LYNX actually had one of their grabs eaten on that initial B push. They lost that grab. It was actually Jasmine's that grab there.
It was delicious.
That gave them a really, really nice force reset against LYNX. Going into the time back now, it's going to be LYNX back with the same defense at the Sombra Doomfist.
And it worked. It's on We're Eternal to answer this one once again, because LYNX really should have won with this one both of those times.
Good nano, good bio rather.
Nearly closed out on Grace, really forced him into full retreat. Bellows in trouble though, overextends Rodtongue as well. Suddenly We're Eternal are in a good spot. They do lose Ison, but they trade out with Bumburapa for it, so they're more than happy to take that one. And this time around, LYNX unfortunately botched that defense.
And this is as a team with a time deficit, getting this A cap very, very important. It's now going to give them a very defendable position once they head into their own defense in this overtime. Going into B now, any sort of distance is going to be ideal here. With 1 minute 50, they're unlikely to get a full cap on through. They're not going to have this massive snowball because EMP is nearly ready, but I don't want to see Natsuru-sama botch this one again.
A third is all that We're Eternal need to have a very winnable position here. But Kana already lost the mech. Nice hack by Nutsuru-sama as Kana made the approach. Junwoo pops out a nicely timed coalescence, but doesn't save Ison. Does pick up Bello, but
starting again.
Nutsuru-sama, yeah, this is starting to get a little bit deja vu-y. It's a bit of an awkward grab, but it does still catch these tanks. Self-destruct out, so they will be able to start coming back onto this point, losing Zobi, but traded with Jasmine. They haven't got that third. There's now a point where if We Are Eternal don't get that third quickly, they will actually be in a very tight spot. And LYNX are already starting to repel them. Hold it, Wogtunk down. They've still not committed this EMP. This is so greedy, and it's costing them.
They are going to use the Transcendence here. Note We Are Eternal Gaming are staying into this fight. We are also seeing Jasmine onto the Wrecking Ball. It's still going 50-50 though.
Bello's getting a couple. Oh, that's not 50-50 anymore. When will Nutsuru-sama use the EMP? He can't use it now. It's just him and Rodtunk, and he himself is too low. This has given a third over. LYNX are playing far too conservative.
It's got to be a cap.
They might even get capped out. This is absolutely disastrous, but We Are Eternal just keeping this fight on lockdown. If LYNX are going to open the window, We Are Eternal are going to storm through it.
And this is the point now where for LYNX TH it's full stall. We have to see the EMP. If they're going to lose, they're going to lose with it. If nothing else, Grace has a sound barrier as well, and it's all LYNX going down.
Just full stall from LYNX. Still no EMP. Finally gets committed, and there's only himself and Bello. Bello's really got to pull one out of the bag here. It's got to be a white rabbit. Charges that one down, but by the time he's there, the minefield is replaced to meet him, and he does not have the teammates. The self-destruct from Kana will pick him up, and that's looking like the last piece of resistance coming out from LYNX. Everything else is just stall. They have no ultimates. They have no tools. It is only the respawn advantage that is keeping them in this fight.
And they're not even getting any trades here either. Bumper Rubber has to self-destruct, maybe get a couple of kills, because other than that, there's just nothing. Bello's going to respawn here. Overtime ticks down so fast. And that's it. That's going to be the full defense. LYNX CH now need to rely on a second time bank. And I'll remind everyone here, they do technically have a time advantage, but it's only by 1 minute. This is not double the time that We Are Eternal Gaming had. It's only by 1 extra minute. It's only the 50%, and I don't know that they can do this in 3 minutes. It's not impossible because We Are Eternal just did it, but I want to say that We Are Eternal kind of did that off the back of now, I want to say back-to-back, just botched ultimates.
And it's so unfortunate. This is now arguably the third, if not the fourth time LYNX have chosen to not use something that would all but guarantee the fight win.
They only needed one fight, by the way.
And it's costed them dearly. I mean, you could argue they needed two, but it got to the point where that fight went on so long they only needed the one.
Yeah.
It just came out too late. But look, that is in the past now. If you're LYNX, you need to let that one go because you do still have just enough time to cap out fully yourself.
It's got to be a very big ask. At most, they're going to get 3 minutes and 44 seconds. That's the extra 30-second bonus time from capping A. And in order to make this competitive now, LYNX have to be able to get A on 1 attempt. And the reason for that is they need to snowball onto B with an advantage. If they get A even on 2, maybe 3 attempts, We Are Eternal Gaming is going to have ultimates on defense. They're going to have something to actually play defense with. Jasmine on the Mei is actually great because this slows things down. If they buy time on the Mei, it's going to be very effective.
Exactly. It's a great tech for that exact reason. The penetration on that spray now can be pretty dangerous for Goats. It's not a counter, but like you said, it is a slowdown.
Well, I'm talking about the wall here as well, but you're absolutely right. Just the regular slowdown is going to be quite effective, but other than that, Mei can also go very, very wrong because you are missing that extra tanking power out of the Diva, and it's going to be the rotation first from LYNX.
Nearly lost Bumbarapa's mech, but he preserves it. So for now, LYNX safe and able to get all the members through that wall. That's the first hurdle passed.
I'm a little bit surprised here because as you see LYNX trying to rotate here, you should see the ice wall. It should be coming up just to stop the rotation or at least catch somebody out.
I mean, it's hard to follow up on anyone you catch out on that bridge, so I can respect not wanting to use it. They're waiting to have it available here.
Oh, here we go.
Commit. That's the isolation, but these members just kind of scatter about, and they've each got enough defense that they're safe for now. The wall drops, the team's regrouped.
And they need to wait for another wall here. It should be up in a couple seconds. Up now.
Shatter very quickly out of ice, and Rodtunk and no such ultimate, and that was the surprise factor. LYNX, they were ready for a wall. They were not ready for Ison to have that ultimate so quickly.
And this is now the sort of space where we're already under under 2 minutes. That 1 minute advantage they had going into this offense has already been nullified. Not only that, but now we're into the space where more ultimates are going to be available for We Are Eternal. They still haven't technically gotten past this main yet, so if we do get to B, there's just not that much time to fully complete the map.
And look, they got past this initial wall last time, but I don't know that they'll be so lucky this time around. It's all just down to Jasmine's timing. There we go, commits the wall, but again, a little bit too late. Now the fight breaks out in earnest. Adds the grab onto the back of the wall. The follow-up is just barely there. There's a lot of ultimates committed from We Are Eternal, but it's starting to pay off, and they still have more. Ison's already got another Earth Shatter. LYNX, man, if they're going to lose this, they're going to lose this fast. They're down to just over a minute.
And this is where we get to see just We Are Eternal Gaming cashing in on a big ultimate advantage, like I said again on Lee Jung Tao, what I like to call just a big ultimate advantage win for them. Bumbarapa getting staggered out, just costing them more and more time. Now you're at 1 minute remaining. And this is the sort of space now for LYNX TH. Even if they cap this out, I no longer have confidence that they can finish the match.
And this is so rough, fighting through the blizzard, fighting through an Earth Shatter. Zobi's still waiting for the Diva respawn so we can taxi her back to the front lines. At least let's have some ultimates, but this is such a tough position.
And this is the sort of point now where you still have to take that Ice Wall gamble. Do you get caught out or not?
They don't this time. The Earth Shatter goes straight into Rod's shield, throwing out the blizzard. That's a really nicely placed wall. Keeps themselves from the self-destruct by the orbital grab. Now Earth Shatter though out of Rod. Type follow-up is there onto Jasmine in spite of the blizzard. That's a good charge in onto Bumbarapa. Will demech him, but they've already lost a couple of members. No, losing Velo. Suddenly it's back in the favor of We Are Eternal. Junwoo and Grace are low, but they're not dead. Grace just barely gets off a nano boost before going down. It's onto Junwoo, but you'll take it, man. It's extra damage output. LYNX, they are starting to come back into this though. The respawn is there. They are only going to have 30 seconds to cap point B though.
And now there is a world where maybe this is still possible. When you look at LYNX's lineup, Nutsuru-sama actually has an opportunity for the grab, and the reason this is important is because currently there are no counters on the side of We Are Eternal Gaming. Junwoo, no Transcendence. Off the back of one good grab, they can still possibly do this, but it has to come down to Nutsuru-sama to really use his ultimate. He has to redeem himself here. 2 failed EMPs cannot result in now a failed Graviton Surge.
The reality is though, even a quick wipe leaves We Are Eternal enough time to get a full respawn. It is in that window that they will get their Earth Shatter and their Transcendence. It is in that window that they can repel LYNX. And look at Junwoo's positioning around the back line. He gets the Discord onto Rod Tongue and the Earth Shatter from Ison Connect. The ultimate from Nutsuru-sama still not available as Ison charges Panic a mile away, or Nutsuru-sama rather, and suddenly there is nothing left to go on for LYNX. We Are Eternal have secured it. With that, they put themselves onto match point.
And for LYNX TH, it was only 30 seconds and a dream, and neither of them are going to be enough for a map completion to come on through. And when you're in a position like We Are Eternal Gaming, where you know what you have to work with here, it was one fight win, you know what ultimates you're going to need for this. You put Junwoo into high ground, and it's sort of a gamble. It's not even really a gamble, because if you scout where the push is going to come through and you see it's going to be a low ground push, you have a Zenyatta that can, like you said, get that early Discord on, get Rod Tongue down early, get your Transcendence up and available, because you know if the grab does come out, that is going to be the counter tool, and he didn't even end up needing to use it. Well played by We Are Eternal Gaming on all fronts. It was, I want to say, a potentially quite winnable map for LYNX TH with the 1 minute advantage. It's not a huge advantage, but it's something. And for LYNX TH, just not quite there.
I would dare say the thing that actually made it winnable for LYNX TH, it was the EMP in the time bank defense that Nutsuru-sama failed to commit at the right time. It was a Transcendence on the original point A defense that Pannies failed to commit. It was an additional EMP on the original point B defense that Nutsuru-sama also failed to commit at an ideal time. Look, I don't want to rag on particular members, but when we get down to the brass tacks of it all, there were ultimates that were used at suboptimal times, and also LYNX lost the match. I'm not saying that these two things are connected. Correlation does not equal causality, but I dare say that LYNX, even if they might not have won it, that could have still been a better performance, and that's where you start to consider that it could have been a winnable map for LYNX.
And I say they put themselves in a very good position to be able to win this map. You had a lot more confidence in Bellows' ability to dish out the damage on the Doomfist as well after some questionable performances on both weeks 1 and 2. But a lot of that does come down to how he's supported by the rest of the team, which is why I have to go into the notion of the origin of this conversation that I brought before we got into Hanamura, which is to say, you know, when you look at Bello as a Doomfist player, how much of it has been him, how much of it has been the team? Because now I'm starting to believe it's definitely more along the team side. You need the support to really go off. You need the EMPs having good timing to make sure you have good opportunities to go in where you can be safe, where you know you're not going to get bashed up, you know you're not going to just get taken down straight away. You need things to happen with the rest of the other 5 members to really be effective. And 2 out of 2 times when the EMP fades will come through, Bello was the first one dead because he's there waiting like, come on, man, it's got to come. I need to go in here.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see that happen. And look, the thing that I think is so heartbreaking about it actually is that they did actually play extremely well. I would even go so far as to say, look, I think there is a world in which maybe LYNX didn't win, but it at least came to a draw. And that world is where, like, that point B defense and the time bank went a bit better. Maybe LYNX weren't able to get themselves a third. They can't win, but they can take it to a draw. That puts them in an okay position coming into here. That being said, I don't know if it's that much better a position because we are going on to Escort. It is We Are Eternal at match point. They did have the better Numbani, and we were favoring them on Escort anyway. I dare say that unless that was an out-and-out win for LYNX, I think this is still We Are Eternal favored to just win the match anyway.
And now you're starting to get more along the case where if this does go to a 3-1, which is looking more and more likely as we get through this.
I don't want to call it too soon, but it is.
I don't, but it's just certainly looking that way now. If it does end up being a 3-1, then you have to address Lijiang as a bit of a microcosm that maybe have been I don't want to, it's not a fluke either because they did deserve to win that. The way they won it was very convincing, and you're still seeing some of the nuances from Lijiang being brought into even Hanamura. When they played Ryan Goats into Ryan Goats, they're actually winning these mirrors. They're coming out on top when they get into these mirrors. But when you go into the next map, which is actually going to be Route 66, I don't think We Are Eternal are just going to give you these same free mirrors all the time. Maybe you'll get it when you get to see both teams are going to play Ryan Goats again, but across the rest of the map, I'm not too sure that We Are Eternal Gaming are just going to say, yeah, we'll just play exactly the same comp into you, see what happens.
Yeah, of course not. Here's the saving grace, though, for LYNX. This is the one.
They have a player called Grace.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, that's on the other team.
Well, that could be the saving grace. We don't know. Maybe if Grace plays terribly, he will save LYNX. But the thing I actually wanted to say is the saving grace for LYNX is we did actually see what they look like when they execute properly and have a good game plan. We saw them on Numbani where they didn't have a great game plan and the execution was decent. We saw them on Hanamura where the execution was poor, but they had a very good game plan. We saw them on Lijiang Tower where both of those things were in place and existent and they won it. So that is still a factor here. If they, you know, pull up their socks a little bit, I reckon they can do this.
Route 66 has been the more popular of the 2 choices for Escort so far this season. And it will once again be the initial defense from LYNX TH on the Ryan Ghost. Now, we're Eternal Gaming looking at Kana here with the Hanzo Scout. If he sees this, or if he sort of has a sort of positioning where they do manage to spot this out, it will go very poorly for LYNX. But because they don't, LYNX have a good opportunity here.
Yeah, they don't spot it out. LYNX move into this position pretty early, though. It's not spotted out, but not necessarily reacted to either. Bello gets low. He's going to get run down there. Oh, big bump back onto Rod Tongue as well. Nice find, and suddenly these members very split up, and this is looking like it'll be a pretty clean open for We Are Eternal.
And you can see the execution from We Are Eternal as well. Amgo with the initial stun onto Rod Tongue. While he's stunned up, the rest of We Are Eternal just surround LYNX TH. The boot from Grace as well, just pushing people around, affecting that positioning. When LYNX TH finally recover from the initial shield bash, they actually don't have good enough positioning to come back and fight front to back again. It's We Are Eternal. They get that initial skirmish win, and now they continue pushing. Jasmine nearly on the grab. Natsura-sama so far away.
And again, look at how high up Aizen's ultimate charge is. It was that earth shatter that took LYNX by surprise in that time bank on Hanamura just seen. I think this could be an equally surprising ultimate.
Looking at Ison as well, they've just got so much to work with here.
There it is, the bash, the shatter, there it goes, the clean up to follow. We are Eternal, again, just clean fights and very cheap ones to boot.
There's still no ultimates available for LYNX just yet. Maybe there's a world where Zobi actually has a sound barrier available. It's not this world though. Ambio's going to pick up a decent amount himself, and now we're just going to keep snowballing through very, very quick cap. Still 5 minutes remaining, and this is now just getting a little bit out of hand. LYNX, they need something to turn this around, and so far, with only support ultimates, all they can do is try and survive. They can't actually get back in and have the tank ultimates to set up the fights properly for a win.
Hey, remember when he said We Are Eternal didn't want to give LYNX easy mirrors? Well, they're not. They're giving them hard mirrors. LYNX feel like they've got nothing to go on here.
Just support ults. And you've got Jasmine hiding as well. It's a good grab.
Yeah, but there is not going to be a Transcendence in time to save most of these members as Ison scoops up forward and is already back up on a shatter, even getting Marapa in all that. And Junwoo gets the remaining kill credit on Panties. That is disgustingly clean.
Zobi actually uses sound barrier there. When I say use, I mean he tried to use it and he must have gone down very quickly because there was definitely not a sound barrier that I saw.
He broke it, but not down.
Yeah, well, LYNX TH right now, broken sounds about right because we're nearing the second checkpoint, the end of the second checkpoint here. It's still a lot of ults for We Are Eternal Gaming. LYNX TH still waiting for their first grab, still waiting for the first Earth Shatter, and they don't have time.
They just look out of sight, man, and it's the one from Ison. What a placement of a selfless strike. They do at least absorb that one, and no one's dead just yet. They trade back onto Ison. LYNX, they've still got fight left in them. In fact, rallying, turn this one back around now. Bello picks up a couple, and Nutsurusama charges forward with, speaking of, plenty of charge. And that's going to be forcing We Are Eternal well away from that payload.
Absolutely huge plays from Bello there. This is very similar to what we've seen on previous maps. Numbani sort of being the case here on that eventually ill-fated B defense. But as LYNX TH get themselves shattered, Bello's still alive. He manages to get a couple of nice bashes in there, cleans up a couple of kills, force a bit of a soft reset, and now you're into the sort of space where actually there is ults to use. There now is a grab. There now is an Earth Shatter, and LYNX can actually strike.
Looking to just push themselves forward here as We Are Eternal. Ooh, Bello gets a little bit low. That makes it hard for Rodsung to really get a lot out of that Earth Shatter. They lose Zobi. Rodsung charges forward on the wrong side of this fight now, alone. And unfortunately for LYNX, they don't quite execute as cleanly as they would have liked. We Are Eternal, though, clean as ever, going to be able to pick up that fight.
Spot and span, but can't say the same about LYNX because they used the Earth Shatter, didn't get a single kill off it. They tried to charge in with Rodtung, misses completely, and then they just start losing members. And LYNX, they're now defending C. There's 4 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. We Are Eternal Gaming have only lost one fight at this stage. With this kind of pressure moving through, unless Nutsurusama lands a great Graviton Surge, We Are Eternal Gaming going to keep pushing on through, and they could get this map done in a very good time.
Look, LYNX do actually have some good tools coming up at their disposal.
That's said that a few times, though.
But as the thing, as long as We Are Eternal's execution is cleaner, the ult advantage isn't mattering. But they have blocked out the Earth Shatter this time around. Grab does get thrown forward, plus the self-destruct on the ideal angle. Turning the shield around, though, leaves Ambio exposed. Rodtung's able to find that one. Now, getting the Earth Shatter connecting in out of Rodtung. This is what LYNX have not been able to do for so long. They're finally looking that little bit cleaner.
And this is where the ultimates do land, and what you'll see there is because the grab caught a decent amount of members, Junwoo did get the Transcendence there in time. Rodtung was swinging his hammer that entire way during that Graviton Surge, gets himself a second Earth Shatter very, very quickly. He just used one in the previous fight loss that LYNX TH suffered, uses another one here to secure the fight, and LYNX forcing that full reset. Now with 3 minutes remaining and double support ultimates, LYNX can survive this.
That being said, it all comes down to execution, and that is where We Are Eternal have been that little bit more consistent. Grab from Jasmine got eaten by Bombarapa, and now We Are Eternal sorely on the back foot, and it shows. Kana throwing that the complete wrong direction, unfortunately, just so that he can remech and get back to his team. LYNX have very much weathered the storm.
And this is the sort of space now where as the time starts really going down, the cart isn't in really a good position for We Are Eternal just yet. And they need some more ultimates. Ison's nearly got that Earth Shatter, but he needs to be able to land it as well as he has previously.
Rodtung's nearly got his own Shatter, and Nutsurusama has a grab to boot. So, unless as Ison really connects hard on this. LYNX are still in a decent position as the card starts to move forward.
Watch the shield bash.
There it is. Oh, mistimed. The shatter a fraction of a second too early, and the bash did not connect. Suddenly, Ison has missed the last 3 shatters, and again, LYNX going to take the fight. Again, they charge up the ultimate. Things are starting to fall apart for We Are Eternal.
That was the first majorly missed combo as well, because what you saw previous to that was AVRL actually landing the shield bash on time for Rodtongue, and then the shatter does come through from Ison. It hits a decent number of members, and for LYNX CH, this is starting to look better and better now. They have double, I should say, tank ultimates here, which is going to be very deadly, including a combo.
Yeah, decently placed grab. Self-destruct goes forward. They turn the shield, and that leaves these members a bit exposed. Grace has to go into full retreat. AVRL does find Bello, and there's going to be Transcendence out of Panties to try and deal with that grab. No team quite coming out the better of this unless you count the death of Bello. That's going to be an Earth Shatter coming out from Ison. This one's going to connect, and would you believe how fast this man charges those ultimates up? And suddenly We Are Eternal looking back in form.
Yep, but only 1 minute remaining now, so they don't get that nice, sweet time finishing this map, assuming they can still now actually finish it, because LYNX, they're still in position to defend. They will get a full wave of respawns here, and Summer probably does get a Graviton Surge here as well. So for LYNX, final opportunity to defend, and it's definitely possible.
LYNX, they need to connect these tools. Kana throws a self-destruct forward, doesn't get anyone, but makes some space.
Maybe a D-Mech there?
Junwoo's positioning is very favorable here. The platform does just kind of block him out for a second, and great sleep connecting from Panties. Rodtongue gets picked off though. There's got to be some follow-up to come out from this grab, but it's not going to happen thanks to Ison's Shadow. Now We Are Eternal, they find another one in Bello. LYNX still a little bit on the back foot. The ultimates haven't found their mark yet, while We Are Eternal they have. And they've just been out-fragging. Self-destruct from Boomerang has got to be big. It's not, it's nothing. They've only taken Kana's mech down so far. Who may be able to get back into it at this rate. Rodtongue connects with the Shadow, but no follow-up. He's down, and they're not going to get anything out of that one. That's an excellent push from We Are Eternal to get that one over the line.
And maybe the unsung hero of this offense so far across all 3 stages is probably, in my mind, AVRL, the Brigida player, because he's been setting up the Earth Shadows for Ison so well, and even towards the end there, he's able to just weave his way through, find kills. He got himself a double there, got the kill onto Bello as he was flat on his back. He's the one actually picking up very important kills, as well as the one setting up combos for the rest of his team. You see a similar thing come out of Bello on the other side as the Brigida for LYNX as well. When LYNX are actually in a sort of losing position, you'll actually just see somehow, some way, Bello finds his way in there, gets a couple of kills, and suddenly things look still kind of even for LYNX. But it is We Are Eternal Gaming completing that cap with 17 seconds remaining, which is a bit of a consolation prize. The time bank here is still not going to be fantastic, but they are going to get there.
Ready for battle.
It's possible, at least, to take it to a time bank. That's the advantage that LYNX have here.
Well, really, they put the ball into LYNX's court.
Yes.
To put it into the time bank, because there is a world where LYNX are unable to do that. And based on, I guess, Numbani, you'd say that world is at least more than likely.
That's the unfortunate truth of it all. At any rate, this is not the ideal place for either team to be in, actually. We Are Eternal would have liked a lot more time than that. LYNX would have liked to have at least been overtime, if a non-cap at all, when you consider how good they looked when they finally hit their stride of the defense. But again, as with all hearts, one must wash that into the past.
And I will say most teams don't even cap at all, so We Are Eternal are going to be at least okay with this for now. It is going to be the Ryan goes versus Ryan goes into the mirror, so you'd expect LYNX here. This should be a strong sort of fight for them, but based on the opening that we've seen from We Are Eternal last time, they won that. They got the much better footing.
That being said, LYNX always have time to change that tune. They are actually moving this payload forward. Haven't got the early fight win that We Are Eternal got, but not in a bad position either.
Just respecting the space. You saw the initial shield bash from AVRL. Couldn't quite clean up enough damage to get Rodtongue down, but they're just still spamming out. Now you're going to watch the ultimates. Who's going to get the first ultimate of the game? Because that is probably going to be the new swing point.
We Are Eternal have done such a good job of backing up while dealing damage and not taking any of their own. And because of that, you see the difference, right? Panties is the first ultimate, but Ison is really outstripping Rodtongue in terms of that ultimate charge.
Panties is going to save this one for the Graviton Surge now, because Jasmine is so close to it.
Oh, excellent bash shatter combo once again. So consistent on that as We Are Eternal, but it's been the follow-up, it's been the rest of the fight that has gone so well for LYNX now. and that is really nicely handled by LYNX. Again, they're starting to expect the consistency of that combo. They were ready for it to come out when it did for the first time thus far, and it pays off.
And they had the Transcendence as well. Note that Panties was able to use that, and they got Ambio down straight away, and then Bello comes out with the counter swing. It's coming down again to these Brigida players. Bello is able to weave his way in and find these kills when it really matters. LYNX now get to walk through 4 ultimates, nearly 5. We're Eternal Gaming. Probably just have to throw out the grab and hope that this is enough.
Just pushing on forward now is LYNX. They've got a lot at their disposal. Early grab out of Jasmine, and really nothing else to follow up on it. It's going to be the response one from Nutsuru-sama with the self-destruct placed in to find both Jasmine and Ison. And without that tank line, We Are Eternal looking much the worse for wear. LYNX just going to clean up the rest of this fight, wanting to complete that catch pretty soon.
And this time around, Rodtung does find the charge onto Ison as well, which knocks away that big shield. Gets himself an Earth Shatter for that by just swinging while the Graviton Surge is happening. And the good news for We Are Eternal is they did manage to absorb a decent amount of ult surge despite losing the cap. I think they were probably going to lose the cap anyway. They've got to be careful not to lose any more here because LYNX, they're getting aggressive and they're looking for more frags as the initial push comes through.
Yeah, nice play by LYNX to get that one. Good by We Are Eternal to back up before losing any more members, but it does still give LYNX a lot of free space.
It does, and LYNX now need to look to recharge. As was previously mentioned, they used a lot of ultimates to get that A cap. Kana now and the rest of We Are Eternal Gaming fully respawn, fully reset. The card distance isn't extreme, so despite getting that initial kill to Jasmine as they were all spawning out, it's not a huge amount of distance so far.
What they do have is reasonable positioning, but not if they all end up on their backs like that, thanks to Ison with an excellent flank there. Not the angle that LYNX were expecting, and even then it was relatively telegraphed. So We Are Eternal just looking to scoop up the rest of these members. Now LYNX, they will at least charge some ultimates for their trouble, but that's not what they wanted to have happen after such a good start.
And I do want to say at this sort of point to the game, We Are Eternal Gaming on their own offense was seriously threatening to cap B already.
Yeah.
LYNX CH, this early slowdown is not ideal. They don't want to be reset in this sort of position because this is going to cost them a couple minutes. Even if they do cap out B now, they're going to do so with not that great of a time. If they want to get into C, if they want to actually contest for the full map and go into time bank, they need as much time as possible.
Pushing forward, they do find Junwoo.
That's big because there's no trance now.
And that's, like you said, takes the Transcendence off the table as now LYNX look to collapse on the rest of We Are Eternal, who also are not in a position to retreat. It's only a matter of time. And We Are Eternal, they haven't even got counter trades. They're smart enough to not commit any ultimates here. It could have bought them counter trades, but it would cost them so much more. So, off the back of this, LYNX will regain possession of the cards.
And it's so much smarter by LYNX CH themselves not to use ultimates. You'd see a lot of teams potentially get into that scenario and just get a bit greedy or be a little bit unsure and think, okay, maybe we just have to drop a grab here. We're not too sure if this is going to be a clean fight. If it's going to be as clean as we think. But now they actually have ultimates to finish this cap with it. They do finish this cap. 1 minute 30 added to the clock. Then they can maybe snowball through onto C. If for We Are Eternal, they would have to seriously misuse some of the results to not get counter ults from LYNX right now.
Now both teams maybe going to be looking for that back shatter combo. Let's actually grab out first from Jasmine. Self-destruct plays forward. Does find Rodtung. That's big. Big ultimate off the table. Nutsuru-sama
that's bigger.
on Earth Shatter plus grab to follow it up. So, or rather to counter, but it is still We Are Eternal getting the better end of that deal in terms of the kills. And that's what runs down the clock. Further excellent catch from Ison.
And the problem now becomes for Nutsuru-sama, the grab is no longer a valuable grab to have used at that point. Now, if they manage to get a lot of members out alive, a good defensive grab that nullifies the effects of an Earth Shatter becomes somewhat valuable because they all just get wiped anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have just gotten wiped from the Shatter instead of using the grab. So for LYNX, another slowdown here. Got themselves reset again. Now if they do finish this map, it's just going to be very, very tough to actually get onto C with a good time.
They do still have their own Earth Shatter, but it's going to be difficult to get a good angle on it because We Are Eternal are aware of it. You see them position themselves nicely on the high ground. Bomber up and throws that one forward. Try and turn the shield around and throw an Earth Shatter in, but the angle's not ideal, and instead both of those ultimates go to waste. Now, Sound Barrier matched by Transcendence from Junwoo, and it's Grace with the advantage here in terms of the ultimate still holding on to a Sound Barrier. Bello gets picked. Look at Ison again, nearly out of Shatter, as LYNX once again finding themselves in full retreat and bleeding remaining members.
And we are Eternal Gaming sitting on so many ultimates. Look at Jasmine's positioning there. So good from the Zarya player because he gets the opportunity to, first of all, get free damage on top of LYNX, and they can't block it out because you can't aim the shield up there. Otherwise, the rest of We Are Eternal Gaming will routing you, just clean up the damage even faster. Then on top of that, he can grab at any point that he wants to, and now he can still grab at any points he wants to as the overtime now approaches. LYNX, even if they cap B, I don't think they finish the match.
And I don't even think they cap B, to be perfectly honest. Look at how many ultimates We Are Eternal have, and such high impact ones. That's Grace preserving that sound barrier, Jasmine and Ison charging up the grab and shatter. And LYNX have nothing to go on here, aside from a Transcendence to counteract one of those two. Actually, both get thrown out at once. Kana whips the self-destruct. LYNX have weathered the storm, but can they charge up any ultimates of their own? Ison, another Urchin already? Are you kidding me? Even finds Bello with it, and Rodtung's only just come up on his shatter. They drop Ison down, but it's all too late, even as they collect the kill, because Boombarapa out of the mech. Rodtung far too low to stay in this one all that much longer. They will reclaim the cart for just a few seconds, but it feels like a last hurrah as We Are Eternal rallying now, dropping these tanks, and no one's on the cart. We Are Eternal will take the series.
And it's going to be a 3-1 to finish things off for the day, for this opening match, I should probably say as well. It was very convincing towards the end as we got further and further along the map. Route 66 just looked like it was going to be We Are Eternal Gaming. When we got on to B, and you see how many times LYNX got themselves reset fully, you consider that We Are Eternal Gaming on that offense didn't get reset at all. Maybe like got a soft reset as they pushed through on B, got a very quick cap onto B, then went straight onto C with some very good time remaining. And able to finish the map, I mean, LYNX had to at least match it, and we have to now go into the sort of conversation where we're in this sort of space when you look at LYNX's approach and you're thinking, the only way they win this is if We Are Eternal Gaming seriously misfire, except you don't expect them to, because the number of times We Are Eternal Gaming have seriously misfired, I can't even really remember like one big misfire, whereas you look at LYNX, you can count them. You can count them up so easily across multiple different maps.
And not only on one hand, because there was a lot of them. Look, I'm not going to try and bag on them here or anything. At the end of it, look, it was a relatively competitive series in spite of that. And I do have to say, when LYNX were firing on all cylinders, when they weren't having those issues, they actually looked good. Arguably, maybe even the better of the two teams. And that's based purely off the win on Lijiang Tower. But I did say after that win was picked up, that it was going to be how hybrid went that was going to determine the series, either 4-0 for LYNX or 3-1 for We Are Eternal, and it's 3-1 for We Are Eternal.
And now we are going to go into a break, but when we do come back, the next match of the evening will be here, and it's going to be Nova Esports versus Xavier, which I think could be the match of the week.
Title bout.
So you definitely don't want to miss this one. We'll see you here after the break.